Hey, what is up, ASMR family? So, late video today. Really late video today. But, so what I have today is stuff of my grandfather's in World War II. So, World War II, artifacts, memorabilia, whatever you want to call it, I guess. But, yeah, that's like, this was his jacket. This is stitched on, because from whenever I was looking up this symbol earlier, it's called a ruptured duck. Now, the ruptured duck, and I'm going to put it up on the screen too, but I got a screenshot of what the ruptured duck is. So, let me... Okay, and the ruptured duck, it's honorable discharge insignia, also called a ruptured duck, is a small badge that was issued to honorable discharged veterans. The badge was sewn onto a veteran's service coat upon leaving military service. This type of badge was used during World War II. So, you know what? Let me text my mom right quick, because I always thought my grandfather was in the Philippines, and she told me the other day when she gave me all this stuff that he was somewhere else. So let me text her, because I can't remember where she's at. Okay, so my mom texted me back, and she said that he was in the Philippines, but he was also in New Guinea. And so I just decided to do a quick search, and I'll put these screenshots up on, bam, y'all just heard it. I screenshotted one, and then bam, screenshot another. So these screenshots come from overviews where it shows army.mil. So the reason why the US was in New Guinea, it says the New Guinea campaign, January 1942 to August 1945, involved a series of battles to reclaim New Guinea from Imperial Japanese forces, and combined with the battles of Leyte, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Leyte Gulf, which was October 23rd through 26th of 1944, paved the way for the ultimate liberation of the Philippines that severed the Imperial Japanese lines of communication. So, scroll down, and it said, did the U.S. Army fight in New Guinea? So, and then it says the New Guinea campaign was one of the hardest fought of World War II. American and Australian forces relied on native New Guineans to achieve victory. For the white Australian and American and some African American troops who fought there, New Guinea was one of the most horrific battlegrounds of World War II. Damn. So, that explains why some of the stuff that's in here, which, when my mom first showed me, I was like, what the fuck? I thought it was kind of fucked up, and I debated on talking about it on here, but yeah, that's what I'm still going to, and we're going to come back to his jacket. So, but anyway, so here was his binoculars. There was his binoculars. You can't see shit through them. Like, you can see through them, but barely. I mean, and these, it's been years and years and years. It's been, think about it. Think about when the World War II was. And now we're in 2026. So, we're almost 100 years away from World War II. That's just crazy. So these have seen battle, and they're almost 100 years old. Possibly 100 years old. Let's see if it says when they were made. I can't see the writing on it. There's a writing on here, but I can't tell what it is. Damn. Yeah. Well, it's no writing of like when it was made or anything like that, so yeah, that's crazy, you know. So and this ain't World War II, but it was my grandfather's. It's a belt buckle of a horse. Okay, and these are his medals, which I don't think the medals are in these right here. Because he's got a case that I think all the medals are in. Okay. Yeah, see, there's no medal. It's the backs of the pins. So that's the Purple Heart case. And the Bronze Star medal. The Bronze Star medal. These boxes smell old and musty. So right here, this is the Bronze Star medal, and it says, "It is an honor for me to forward this declaration. Robert P. Patterson, Secretary of War, War Department, Washington, D.C." Okay, yeah, so his medal isn't in here. My grandpa's been gone since 2006, so okay. And this was, I guess, a wallet of his. WJO, which was his William. Hold on. Actually, I don't know, because hold on, let me damn, because my grandpa's name was Vito, so let me find out what this is right here. This WJO. Oh, okay. So this is my uncle's wallet, which my uncle made it, and he was in the military. I don't think he ever went overseas or not. I'm not 100% sure, but it stands for William James Ochio Grosso. I say Ochio Grosso, but it's pronounced Ochio Grosso. OCCHIOGROSSO. But he got into a car wreck when I think he was 19. I think he was coming home from the military, and he ended up, I guess he was going too fast, and I think it was raining or whatever, and he pretty much wrapped his car around a tree, and he's been like fucked up ever since, you know. And like, yeah, he's in a home right now, but my mom, you know, my mom's the youngest of the three, and yeah, my other uncle, he died back a few months ago, and then my oldest uncle, Bill, he's you know, he's the oldest, and he's in his 80s and still alive. But yeah, so that was his wallet, but I didn't even know that. Okay, and the Bronze Star recognizes acts of heroism performed in ground combat. If they are of a lesser degree than that required for the Silver Star. Okay, so now we got whatever is in this box. Shit. Okay, so it was a dice. I hope there wasn't a second one in that drop too, because to me it only sounded like this one. That's the only one that I see. Yeah, so here's the other one. Yeah, so this is the one where there's fucked up shit in it. Like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, you see, down in it, like, my mom was telling me that's where they took prisoners of war. I should have put on fucking gloves for this, but, you know, these motherfuckers are damn almost 100 years old. But yeah, like, that's a prisoner of war's teeth. And, you know, she told me that, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and I understand prisoners of war and all that shit, but at the same time, it's like, god damn, dude, you know? It's like, damn, some shit is just unnecessary, you know? But yeah. And it's crazy that he kept them, like, which I'm sure war fucks you up. You know what? Let me grab some gloves because I'm gonna do some page turning on these books. It's time for my hands to start sweating and itching. I have 4 little booklets right here. Panama in your pocket. Panama in your pocket. What to do, where to go while on the isthmus. Published by the Publicity Committee of the UWSO in cooperation with the United Service Organizations of the Canal Zone. So, yeah. Dedicated to the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and civilian war workers in Panama. Welcome to Panama, the external triangle, sightseeing in the Canal Zone, tourist trips farther, transportation, libraries, National Museum, the USO in Panama. Yeah, so that's just some stuff in there. Then we have Allied Geographical Section, Southwest Pacific Area, U and the Native. Notes for the guidance of members of the forces and their relations with New Guinea natives. February 12th, 1943. February 12th, 1943. So where's this? Yeah, I decided to put gloves on because I don't want the oils from my skin destroying this stuff. Yeah, so that doesn't say when this was published. Man, I bet you it's been years since this stuff has been, like, since these pages have been turned. You and the native, that's what it says. So, like, the three golden rules, gardens. Natives depend on their own small gardens in which they grow enough to support themselves only, with some surplus for an occasional feast. A large body of troops would eat them out in no time. You cannot expect them to go hungry on your account. If there are no natives about and you have to help yourselves to food in a garden, leave some payment, tie some tobacco to a stick and stick it in the ground near where you pulled the taro or cut the sugar cane. Leave your mark also on a piece of paper, your name and the picture picture of the Union Jack or the Stars and Stripes. Tie it around the gift. The native does this sort of thing himself, and he will understand. Okay, and then village pigs. Be most careful about village pigs. They are not always on sale like meat in a butcher's stall. And then native women. There's only one thing to be careful about. There's only one thing to be more careful about than village pigs, and that is village women. Among some tribes, women associate readily with Europeans. In others, they will not associate at all. Even where they do, there are two parties to consider: the women themselves, their menfolk. If the woman is not consenting, then intercourse is just rape, whether the victim be white or brown. Oh, no, duh. I mean, that's common sense. Under laws of New Guinea, it is a hanging matter. Maybe they should do shit like that here too. If the men, husbands, fathers, or brothers are not consenting, then it is at least a very serious kind of interference. If they do not seek their revenge, they will at least clear out, taking their women with them, and you will lose their cooperation. In any case, an affair with a native woman is not a love match. It is a deal you are expected to pay. The personal risks are granuloma, gonorrhea, and where the Japanese have got their first syphilis. Okay, so that's just some out of that book. Then, Pocket Guide to Australia, War and Navy Departments, Washington, D.C. Prepared by Special Service Division, Services of Supply, United States Army, a Pocket Guide to Australia. So you got that right there. That's just one of the pages in it. Then we have a pocket guide to Netherlands, East Indies. And for use of military personnel only, not to be republished in whole or in part without the consent of the War Department. So we turned the Department of Defense into the Department of War, and looks like that's what it was back in the day too. So you know what? Now I'm interested in something. So yeah, I wanted to see when the Department of Defense became the Department of Defense, and according to Wikipedia, it says on the 10th of August 1949, the National Security Act of 1947 was amended. The amendment renamed the NME, which was the National Military Establishment. It renamed the NME the Department of Defense. The renaming is alleged to be due to the NME's pronunciation as enemy. I know. That makes sense, I guess. So yeah. But checklist of do's. Here we go. A checklist of do's and don'ts. I've never looked at this before, so don't use the term native or other words that may carry a stigma. The term Indo or Indu should never be used to refer to an Indo-European. Remember, the people in the Indies don't draw any color line. Bargaining is the accepted mode of buying. Don't throw your money away. Be polite and treat buying as though it were a game. You'll be much more respected if you are a good bargainer. Be careful about swearing in public. An Indonesian who hears you may think you are trying to put a curse on him, and if he has bad luck, he may blame you. That that's interesting. We're going to have to do a video on just these books. But yeah, so there's some of those. And then some of the other stuff. So then there's these dice right here. These dice, tell they got some age on them. Oh shit. So this looks to be a... Well, I thought that was a pin. I'm not sure what the hell it is. I mean, maybe it is some type of pin. I'm not sure. I've never seen one of these. Looks like a pin. And here's another one. That's cool. And this says... Yeah, so this is a type of pin too, my guess, because... But I'm trying to see what this says on this, on that right there. It says ever sharp. Let's Google that. Yeah, so Wall Eversharp, known for stylish Art Deco designs and quality craftsmanship, Wall Eversharp became one of the top American pen and pencil makers during the 1920s and 30s. So that's cool. And then here is a... Oh yeah, so these are a type of pen. Yeah, so that's what that first one was too. That sucks that it's broke on the end of it. And then some bracelets. I'm sure this is stuff that my grandfather got from either people he met or, yeah, see, and then that's like, there's another one like that. Another dead person's teeth. And I'm not sure what exactly these are. It looks like to hold a pin or maybe, or something, or some kind of hinge of some type, some type for something. I don't know. And there's that. There's 2 stars. Another patch of 3 stars. This came off of somebody's coat. So, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can Google this stuff and see if it'll show me anything. You know, the Google Lens. Okay, these are Japanese right here. From what I was looking up, these are Japanese. So I'm assuming that is too. Here's a ring. I don't know what it says. So I'm about to turn the flashlight on because it says something on it. Looks like it says Manila. I can't really see because the light in here, if I take that light off of it, I can't really see shit. If I shine the light on it, it's got almost too much shine. But yeah, it looks like something like Manila or something like that. I'm trying to see if there's anything on the inside of the ring, but it doesn't look like it. So yeah, and then there's that pin right there. That pin. And then he has 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, Army chevron stripe patches. And I want to see what they stand for, too. So I'm about to look up that. I want to see what they're for. You know, I've seen them before, but I'm not in the military. Never been in the military. I tried to sign up for the military whenever I turned, like right as I was getting ready to turn 18, but because of the condition my legs were in, they told me because I could not run. Because I could not run, they turned me, the recruiter turned me away. So, and you know, like, oh well. But yeah, so, and hold on. Okay. So, one of these is a private first class Lance Corporal. So, and there's 6 of those here. But, and then he had this right here, more Japanese writing. So that's what's in that box right there. Yeah, we might have to do a video of just reading those, you know. Of reading those books. You know, and I'm not going to do the letters. I don't think I'm going to find the letters because I've already did a video on them. I might just grab them and show how, like, the box and how many of them there are, pretty much. But that's probably it. Okay, so here we go. That was my uncle, the one that got into the wreck coming home. That was my uncle. That was my grandma. That was my grandma. So that's my Uncle Bill. That's my grandma. Used to call her Mimi. But, and then I called her Memes too, but then I started getting older and I just started calling her Grandma. Yeah. She passed in 2015. Yeah, and she had dementia. And this is the perfume, Estee Lauder, that my grandpa got my grandma, and this Joanne Ochio Grosso. But yeah, this perfume is older than me, and I can still smell it. That's crazy. Perfume is older than me, and I can still smell it. So there's a piece of paper in here. I don't know what this is. You gotta be careful with it though. Okay. So shit. So this is something: stainless alloy, carbon steels, aluminum, frasse. There is hair in this, and it had this, and I don't know what this is. Jim's first haircut. So I don't know what that's about. I'm gonna ask my mom that too. Okay, well this is just my uncle that died. That was just evidently his baby stuff. But yeah, like Okio Grosso. I know y'all can't tell, but okay, so let's go ahead and get into these medals. I think we're getting into the medals now. Oh yeah, so, and then these are my grandfather's dog tags. So these are his dog tags. Yeah, Vito Okio Grosso, 72nd Street, Brooklyn, New York. J. Okio Grosso, got the number. You know, it's crazy. You hold something like this, and, you know, this right here is it's a part of history. I know everything that's old is a part of history, but like this is a significant piece of history. You know, World War II was something major. So yeah, it's a really significant piece of history, and yeah, it's crazy to think, like somebody like grab stuff of family, and it's, and you feel the connection to it, and this and that and everything, but at the same time, some things it goes beyond that. So, but yeah, so there's his dog tags, and then another chevron stripe, and that, I'm not sure what that is. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then and then a patch of 6 stripes. And then that, I look it up, but my other phone is about to die. I'll probably just take a picture and put it on there. And then a couple things drop. These dropped. I don't know what those are. They're probably it's probably nothing because they were under everything else. But yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy to think. When you have stuff like this, it's great. Like they hold a dead man's teeth that seemed to be probably ripped out of his freaking mouth, and that fought in a war, and we don't, I wonder how he felt about, fighting in the war. So okay, we got a few more things. So, and then there is that pin right here. That pin right here. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna look it up, because I gotta plug my other phone up. So, good conduct. It's a good conduct decoration medal. So, good conduct decoration medal. And so this is Medal Campaign and Service Victory World War II. Like, I gotta figure out a way to preserve this shit. Okay, now we got this right here. And this is an identification bracelet. And I think my mom was saying my grandpa didn't like this. I think my grandma got it for him, but he didn't like it. It's got VJO on it. Yeah, and it says with... Oh shit, I can't see it. I can't tell, but it's got a writing on the back of it. Okay. Now we have two more pretty important things. So... and then these are all his medals right here. So he's got a Purple Heart. I'm not sure what the other medals are. We can do a video of what medals are what. You know, what medals are what and what badges are what. Yeah, if y'all want to. And then this right here is the Bronze Star Medal citation. And it says, Headquarters, 32nd Infantry Division, citation, Bronze Star Medal, Private First Class, Vito J. Occhio Grosso. Infantry, United States Army, for heroic achievement in connection with military operations against the enemy near the Villa Verde Trail, Luzon, Philippine Islands on March 26, 1945. 3 men were seriously wounded and 1 killed during fighting along the narrow, winding Villa Verde Trail. This section of the trail was covered by enemy machine gun fire from a systemic setup of fortified caves along the ridges overlooking the trail. Litter squads rushed to the aid of the 3 wounded men, placed them on litters, but were driven off by enemy machine gun fire, which made the position untenable. Private Occhio Grosso, seeing the helpless position of the wounded man, crawled on his stomach for an approximate distance of 30 yards and dragged the first man and litter back to safety. Fearlessly exposing himself to the unabating enemy fire, he repeated this act again and again until all 3 men were evacuated from enemy observation. By his courage and at the risk of his own life, Private Occhio Grosso undoubtedly saved the lives of his 3 comrades. Home address. Well, it's just, and then it says home address, and then Robert B. McBride, Jr., Brigadier General, U.S. Army Commanding. So that's that right there. So that's cool. My grandpa was a fucking badass. But, yeah. And what's crazy is, like I said, like I've told y'all before, my uncle found pictures. My uncle that died, my mom was telling me he found pictures like years and years ago of my grandfather with Jimmy Hoffa and and my grandpa, he denied it whenever my uncle said something to him. My mom told me that he said he would deny it and shit. But yeah, that's some crazy shit. So, but y'all, oh, and then let's get back to the jacket. One last thing. I wish I had a picture of my grandpa. Which I do, but I'm gonna have to dig for it. Otherwise, I'd put it up in here. But yeah, so the patches are on here too. Not sure what that patch is. But then there's the damn, what the hell was it called? But yeah, that's the jacket. He was, man, I remember him being tall. You know, not tall, but I remember him being like 6 foot, 6'1". That's a small ass jacket. That's a small jacket. But yeah, he also, I'm gonna get off here. And I'm going to edit this video and get it to y'all. I hope y'all have a good one. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. If y'all want me to do a video on just the patches and stuff, or the medals, you know, what they are, what they're for, and all that, you know, let me know and I'll do it. But yeah, I'm gonna get off here. Y'all take it easy. Peace.